Hello Gemini, how are you doing? This is your August 2025 tarot reading. I'll start by pulling 3 cards to get an overall bird's eye view, big picture look at what has been going on for you lately, what's been important to you. Where are you at now? What are the present energies for August? And what is still yet to come for you in the near future? I'll continue this reading by pulling more cards to clarify and get deeper meanings on the messages coming through as we go, but let's get right into it. I have the 6 of Cups. This is a lot about in the past energy, reflecting on the past. This is potentially about seeking answers, going way back and reviewing kind of how you got to where you are, or perhaps you've had more time on your hands to just be more reflective and take a walk down memory lane. Your childhood, your early life experiences, they're coming up again for you, resurfacing to be not necessarily examined only, but more to sort of be reclaimed in some way or revered, and like just genuinely like, I think it's like this was important and I need to honor it. Present energy is a very powerful and authoritative King of Swords. This is about August being a month where a really important choice is being made, maybe about where you're going next. It seems like, you know, since around June in particular, the sign of Gemini has been gearing up to this overall liberation, and I feel like a lot of Gemini are at a crossroads at the moment in their life, you know, leaving essentially the past behind to forge out a new direction overall. And that's due largely to the fact that Uranus, the great liberator in astrology, has moved into the sign of Gemini for the first time in our lifetime, at least in mine. Oh, that's my cat making some noise. I was like, what the heck? This is the 6 of Swords, and this is interesting, right? We have a 6 of Cups, we have a 6 of Swords, the past, in the past position, and the 6 of Swords is about making a move or some sort of a transitory effect. So where are you taking your next era, Gemini? It seems like August is a time where you actually get pretty serious about where you're going next and where your journey is leading you towards. The King of Swords often, when they make a decision, they can be quite rigid on it. So this would tell me that all of this kind of like reflective, sort of contemplative energy that you've been working with lately has had a really useful purpose, and it is helping you orient yourself in the here and now in August. And a version of yourself, this is an air sign energy, right? So a version of yourself is emerging now that feels very masterful, very capable. There's a lot of respect shown to a King of Swords type of person. They have an influence, they have a message. I think it actually says truth here across the throat chakra. A mic is dropped right in front of them. This is the 5th reading I've done, so you're the 5th sign I've done, and I believe this King of Swords has come up now in more than half of those readings, like so 3 of the readings so far. I wonder in the collective, is there this kind of tone in August for more truth to be unveiled, more truths to be spoken, and people kind of getting it a little bit more? And maybe that's where you're really kind of in tune at the moment. And you know what, Gemini, I think that you may be saying lately, you know, that's just my opinion, like this is how I see things, that's my point of view, and being pretty, you know, just like, you know, sticking to your guns on something. The 6 of Swords can represent that in August you're taking a trip, maybe towards the end of August into September, you're literally going somewhere, you're moving home, you're packing up, you're helping a friend move. This is a card of support as well, and also a card of moving on from, like moving on from mental turmoil, moving on from a tricky situation, slowly and surely. It's a nice slow and steady progress, but it absolutely is a momentum. So I wonder how literal that is, or is it more so just that you're taking steps or envisioning, it's still a sword card, or like conceptualizing what is next for you. Well, let's have a look at what is next for you, what's been going on a deeper level with some more cards. And I would like to actually say at this point, Gemini, I'm going to be sitting down right here to do an extended version of this reading directly afterwards. And it would be a really valuable time, I think, to join up to the community where I'll be hosting that extended version of this reading, because at the end of August I'll also be uploading a a 6-week deep dive for the sign of Gemini, kind of focusing on the eclipse season container, which will be starting this August, end of August, running all the way through September and culminating beginning of October. But let's leave that there for now and get back to this reading. Clearing up the 6 of Cups. What's been coming up from your past, or who has been returning? The Hermit, super reflective, and I have your Knight of Swords. So the Knight of Swords is charging towards their present destiny in the King of Swords. So you are leveling up, you are maturing, you are kind of like climbing a ladder in a sense. This is an upward trajectory. I don't think it's subtle. I think what has been around you lately and what you've been a part of, or how you've been just kind of overall feeling about your reality, has been more subtle. That's just due to the sort of more inner kind of grounding, maybe inner kind of psychological unraveling, or working through, or holding space for your past, your earlier experiences. And it doesn't have to be past all the way back to childhood, like just the past version of yourself, or the kind of block of time that's been most relevant to this sort of turnstile you're at. I think you've been at this turnstile for a while. I think that just between coming out of July into August is when you make a more decisive kind of like, this is what I'm doing and I've been given this opportunity. There is a chance for me now to pivot, recalibrate, take on something else, something new. Do I do it, or do I remain the same? Which I don't think it's a wrong choice by any means, because no matter what you decide to do in this King of Swords this August, and we'll get to that, the Hermit is here to suggest that you've spent a really diligent amount of time considering this. You know, you have really looked at it from all angles. You've taken space, time alone. Some of you actually may be in a period of hermit withdrawal where you have been taken out of the usual humdrum or the pace of your usual reality. You're taking time off work, you're taking time out of a busy schedule, or you have been laid off. Maybe there has been some sort of a downtime, you're recuperating from something, or you've just been placing yourself on some sort of spiritual and energetic leave where you're like, I'm out of office, do not disturb. This is something that I need to withdraw into myself, up to my kind of metaphorical mountain in peace and quiet, so that you can really kind of, again, get a nice sort of see the forest for the trees from a vantage point of stillness and quiet, and tuning out a lot of the outside noise. And that's not just people in your inner circle or people advising you with their either unsolicited opinions or not, but what were my past expectations of what I should be up to right now? What did my 6-year-old, 16-year-old, 26, 36, whatever it may be, your old self, decide or have expected from me right now. So you might have to quieten. Obviously, you know, I'm not saying like shut yourself down from any past version of yourself, but kind of potentially see the change, like honor the change in yourself, and I guess stay in touch with the younger version of yourself. But sometimes when I see the Six of Cups in a hermit like this in a past energy, I think it is actually advising us that it might be time to move on. It actually might be time to let go of the past. And I can be very guilty of this, right? So I have like natal south node of the karmic past in conjunction with Chiron, the wounded healer, in the sign of Cancer, which is, it's in my 10th house, way up on the top of my chart. Very, very Cancer is so associated with the past too. So I have a lot of gifts in terms of like Cancerian nurturing and healing and those kind of more mystical kind of feminine qualities. However, the downfall of that is that it's really, really hard to let go of the past, because you're carrying, I don't know if any of you guys have a South Node Chiron conjunction anywhere in your chart, but you know, it's really difficult to let go of the past because the karma you're carrying in is a wound from the past that is going to like cyclically repeat itself. So where am I going with this? I've actually been looking into that placement of mine a lot recently. During Cancer season, it was being activated so much anyway, so I just kind of had that, it was just where I was orienting towards in my research. And this is very chironic to me. Not that this looks like a wounded energy, but there's something sad about it, isn't there? Like, you know, this is a little sad. Like, it's so natural, it's so childlike, it is innocent. They're having a tea party with their little teddy bear, but maybe they'd rather somebody else there with them, a friend, an adult, a sibling. Maybe they're having a great old time, but I do believe that there's something a little bit sad here that has been, and maybe I'm projecting because like I'm kind of in that sort of research element at the moment, but like the message that I took away from what I was looking into hermit style, like researching, was if you have natal, and this is Gemini, this is just like the what's ringing true for me for you in this reading, and I just feel like it might be relevant. The message that I understood from what I was looking into for myself and others I've read for clients, because it's a generational thing with Chiron at South Node conjunction. Well, it's like a really small generational thing, but anyways, you've done enough healing. This lifetime doesn't need to be this endless search for healing. It's maybe okay to just leave things as they are and move forward embodied in the person you are now. So letting go of finding ways to solve this problem and heal this issue and just live, okay? It can be quite liberating. The Hermit tells me basically, after that big digression, you have looked at everything from every single point of view now. You're good. So this is a card that really remedies anything that has gone too far into the realm of overthinking and dwelling, nostalgic, depressing kind of energy. And the Knight of Swords really turns this around in a very rapid way. It's the quickest moving knight in the deck, with the Knight of Wands maybe. But anyways, you're moving swiftly towards this King of Swords. Okay, so that's exciting. I feel like if July, Cancer season, summertime sadness has been a little bit melancholic, then the refreshing kind of lease of life that is starting to carry you forward into August should be really welcome overall, especially if you've been feeling stagnant or bored or truly a little down in the dumps over something. The Knight of Swords is about getting things moving. Like, this is really kind of electric. It's actually a very beautiful version of the Knight of Swords. It doesn't look in any way hostile to me. I think that's because like those beautiful bluey pinky colors in the background, still very soothing, but definitely a break away from what's been okay, so let's see where we're at then for the month of August. We're in King of Swords energy, which, I mean, it could be so many things. That's a little bit too many cards to take for now. Okay, I did see the Fool card there though. which is obviously the first card of the deck in the beginning, and it's Uranian, where, you know, Uranus has just moved into Gemini. What else would I say about that? I do get the impression that it's more about the opportunity or possibility to start something else, or can you take something in another direction? Even just the consideration of that, like there's a very kind of like sword energy, which is a lot about like imagining and like visualizing and things like that. So yeah, like lean into that, I think. Okay, what do I have? I have Death card and the Eight of Cups. For sure, Gemini, aren't these signatures of transformation? And the Eight of Cups to me is the most soulful of the minor arcana. It is really about like going so deep within and searching for fulfillment and having the courage to say to yourself, like, this was amazing, this was wonderful, those cups of fulfillment, like this has brought me so much joy and it's been a wonderful part of my journey, but I'm ready to walk away. I'm ready to leave it behind. I'm ready to seek something else. I mean, that is truly the eights in the numerology of tarot are the number of transformation. And of course, you know, if we know anything about Death card, it's like most tarot readers' favorite card, right? It's like, this suggests that something is set to change for you. So reversed, of course, will be the resistance to this, but I don't see it. I see so much openness from you, so much of your quintessential, here you are in your major at the bottom of the deck with that really quick Knight of Wands I referred to a few moments ago. The Lovers and the Knight of Wands, like you're open to this. You're in your most eternally childlike Gemini pursuit of what else is there? Curiosity and adaptability, flexibility, like a willingness. I think that's a big thing, you know, with Gemini. There is a willingness there to find something else, to be someone else, to kind of chop and change. And maybe you don't have it entirely figured out just yet where this change is ultimately going to lead you, but I think that could even be part of the fun. I think that in Leo season, which we're in now, collectively we're invited to lean into trying things on for size, being more authentic and expressive, and just like leading with the heart and having fun and being playful. And then in Virgo season, which will follow afterwards, yes, maybe that will ground those expressions down to earth and apply them in a more practical, tangible way with a sort of schedule and a kind of rough draft and a sort of editing and fine-tuning. But for now, if you haven't got it all figured out quite yet, enjoy the process, because I think knowing that change is what you're kind of stepping into, like, and that this is a period of change for you overall, is enough, maybe, you know. And I think like this Death card is such a beautiful illustration. I love this deck, by the way. It is the Tarot of the Holy Spectrum, the second edition. I don't know what the first edition is like. I think it's pretty too, but I loved the colors for this one. This is such a gorgeous illustration, like, you know, the what I'm becoming, you know, the surrender, the acceptance, and what grows around that and what you grow into. It's so gorgeous. I love this deck so much. Okay, so King of Swords. I think actually some of you are making a declaration, like in some way, shape or form. I don't know if you need those boom boxes and your mic necessarily. It might be just, you know, telling your spouse or, you know, your dog or something like that. But you are making some sort of a declaration. Maybe it's just in your journal, okay? To sort of affirm and say, like, I am changing this. I am ending this, possibly with the Death card. You know, Death card is quite often just a transition or transformation. We're getting a lot of cards that suggest like we're in a movement period, we're evolving. That's the one I was missing, right? The Knight of Swords becomes the King of Swords. Death is an evolution, right? It's a transference of energy, and that's what Gemini does best, right? it's a shapeshifter, okay? So you're okay with shedding the old you. You're okay with being that in the past, and you've been another thing in the past and another, and you're okay with this kind of like unfolding. And I think not only are you okay with it, you're actually quite proud of this. And you're quite, as you should be in Leo season, proud enough to sort of roar that out into the world and make a kind of declaration, publicly or privately, a commitment to honor your highest truth of who you are becoming, or who you feel like you are on the road to embodying. And that's the Eight of Cups. Look, this is the sacrifice element of death. The sacrifice of your evolution and the sacrifice of growth can come with having to leave behind or walk away from or move on from, even if it was just an ideal or a something you thought was going to be the way it was going to be, or maybe there will be something a bit more meaningful, like handing in a notice, you know, breaking a lease, ending a relationship of some sort. And that can be for sure signified by the Death card and the Eight of Cups. So if you feel like something is hanging on by a thread, or there are relationships that are really lacking in growth or understanding or depth anymore, August might be a time where there is more of a decisive and potentially for some permanent breaking away, severing effect. Okay, so you've stuck with me this long. Thank you, Gemini. There's going to be an extended, so you're going to be getting even more of me yapping away. But if this is all you're sticking around for, we're going to clear up the Six of Swords. And I want to invite you to make sure you're subscribed to this channel, as well as commenting, like, share, subscribe. Any of those things would be so appreciated if you enjoyed this reading. So what have we got with the Six of Swords? I mean, how beautiful. You're the fifth sign that this has actually happened for too, that the end of August looks so good. Like, it's such a drastic improvement for many of you from like what July has been like, and like not necessarily all of July, but you're moving from July, August, whatever, there might be things to have to iron out, but overall looks really good for Gemini. But the end of August, like what's going on in the collective that is so splendid. I can't wait to see. I'm going to read for my sign, Pisces, next, just because I want to know what's going on. Okay, so I have the Ace of Cups and the Star card. Like, this is such fulfilling, gorgeous, overflowing, and very awe-inspiring, very divine energy coming through. Yes. Okay, I like where you're going next. I think that on the way to your destination, wherever or however long that's going to take you, you're going to meet a lot of connections. You're going to make new friends, meet new people. This makes me think of that quote that probably like floats around Instagram stories, people repost it or whatever, and it's like, you know, nice thing to reflect on, but you know, you're yet to meet all the people that will love you. And I'm getting that vibe because the Star card is such a wish fulfillment energy. This reminds me of when I was in a mountain, no, I was at a sort of mountainous area in New York, and may or may not have been something kind of plant medicine involved, may or may not. I can't totally say for sure. But the sky was illuminated green like this. There was a full moon that evening, and whatever way it cast its light in the mountains, it turned the sky like a really luminous green. It was absolutely beautiful. And I remember the download that I had. I had had an experience that week leading up to this little trip where I was sitting in front of a very kind of like, maybe it was an authority figure, authority board, a structure that is known to be like really, really powerful and controlling. And it left me quite shook. And I suppose, you know, I thought like, I wonder, did I miss something? Like, was there something weird about that? There probably was, because it is such a low vibrational entity, to be honest. But then when I looked up at that star-like sky, I did have a kind of epiphany, and it was like, you actually don't answer to anybody. Not to be like, you know, a little woo-woo and out there, but like, why not? Like, you know, you came here incarnated not to fear authority or the illusion, right? There is nobody else that you truly answer to but yourself, and whatever the higher power that you believe transcends yourself, of course. And that's what I feel like, Gemini, like you're onto something pretty, like a breakthrough, an epiphany. I feel like there's like going to be some tears shed soon for, I'm like, but like getting a bit emotional, but I don't think they're going to be tears of sorrow. These are like tears of joy. I feel so connected. I feel like everything is sinking and my wishes are coming true. And I think that you feel so part of something macrocosmic. And I think that that's coming around the corner for you. Like, let me know if anything comes up for you late August that feels as awe-inspiring. And I just realized there are mountains in the background. So that's really cute. Yeah, the Ace of Cups, you're going to be meeting a lot of people on your merry way, and I think dream big, like set your sights and hopes as high as possible, as you possibly can for yourself right now, because the sky's the limit, okay? Let's get right into your extended, but if this is all you're sticking around for, I will see you again soon. Bye.